Hello everyone, Galidorn back again, playing Raid Shadow Legends. Okay, so with the spooky season and Halloween approaching us, and with the recent announcement of the Halloween fusion for Gretel, this episode is going to be dealing with my decision on whether I want to go ahead with the upcoming fusion.
You can do it!
So I'll look at the champ and see if she is actually worth doing all the work for. And then secondly, I'm going to look at my ability to do it, because it's not much point, even if the champ is good, in expending a bunch of resources to try and chase her if I know I can't pull it off with what I have. Of course, even if I decide not to do the fusion, I still will pursue, of course, for mod fragments, since, of course, still not have released the Jeroboam fragments.
Oh my fucking god!
And because you can only open 10 in a week, more than likely the fusion will have begun. I don't know whether I have mod or not. Who knows when they're going to release Jeroboam and Freya. Again, pet peeve. Come on, Raid. Fucking do it.
Do it!
Alright, enough of that little rant. But first, before we get into all that, the recent promo code, show you how to get that. Go into the news. There's the Halloween promo code hunt. Okay, so we have a Halloween trick-or-treat cross with a scavenger hunt, I guess. Go to the Raid X page, come up with a little shot of the Bastion. You'll count the pumpkins there, and then add it on to Spooky, and that gives you your promo code. Okay, so here we are on the X page, a little shot of the Bastion here. Count up all these pumpkins. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, I went to kindergarten.
5, 6, 7. Big one up here. 8, 9, 10. Little tiny pumpkin. 11, 12, 13. Now it looks like there's a little pumpkin there as well, but it's not. It's just some leaves. 14, 15, 16. Little tiny one. And over here with Madame Ceres, 17. 17 pumpkins. So now we're into our promo code screen. Type it in. Spooky with our number of pumpkins, 17. Should work. There we go. And some very nice juicy rewards. Go in here and we see it's a 5-star chicken, very beneficial for the upcoming fusion. 500,000 silver and 100 energy. It's going to be beneficial in the workup. Okay, so now with that out of the way, let us take a look at the champion herself, Gretel. Okay, so in looking at her kit, the first thing that I do when I'm considering a fusion champ is I'll ask myself, okay, what role are they in? And we can see from looking at her kit here that she is a damage dealer. She's got some extra stuff in there, some unique stuff, which is good. So she's not just a straight-up damage dealer. There are some things in there, and most of the new champs that come out now, especially fusions, they do sprinkle some extra stuff in there. But first and foremost, she is a damage dealer. Now, damage dealers, there's a lot of them in the game. Okay, you can find damage all over the place. So that kind of goes into the con column of pro and con. So you got to look to see if there's something extra there, that she's not just another damage dealer. For me personally, right now at my point in the game, the more support and especially Reser type champions are something that I consider of higher worth to me, because I do have a lot of champions that put out damage. But having said that, we'll just go through and see if she's got extra stuff there that makes her worth the work. Alright, so as casual free to play, another thing that I do is I don't pay attention too much to the companion champ, if there's a companion champ, because generally they're thrown in with something that's really for the more whalish, krakenish type players, or your fanatical type players, you know, your YouTube content creators. But for true casual free to play, it's highly unlikely whatever they put out there to get the companion champ that you'll be able to get. Not saying that it's impossible, but when I assess the champ, I assess her on her own merits, and I don't really consider the companion. And we do have a companion champ here, Hansel Witch Hunter.
Hansel? Hansel?
You know, because the whole Hansel and Gretel thing, I guess it works into, you know, Halloween, there's a witch involved and shit. Kind of spooky, spooky forest, all that stuff. So yeah, I can see the vibe. since it's highly unlikely that I'll be getting him. Alright, so let's go down the list here. Start with the A1, Evil Undone. Attacks one enemy, 50% chance, placing the big version of decreased defense. And it becomes the AoE when, again, he's on the team. And that AoE has half the chance of landing. But that's fair because it goes on all champs. So far, A1, not impressive. On her own, again. So, Shadow Seeker Bolts. I think this is her big move. Attacks one enemy 4 times and it progresses. This is kind of unique. I don't know if there's any other champs that have this kind of skill exactly. Well, Thor does, yeah. He's got that AoE that progresses up in damage. But again, that's an AoE. This is a single target hit. So I don't know if there's anything like this for a single target hit. Now this tells me it's built to maybe counter UDK, but also champs that revive themselves, like Horman. Because of the second part here, if the attack kills an enemy, resets the cooldown of the skill, and fills the champion's turn meter by 50%, so it's a big fill. And why I say it counters champs that revive themselves is because, well, you smash them down, they come back to life, and then you kill them right off again. Anyway, moving on to Sacred Ritual. So the AoE on the A3, and it decreases the turn meters of all enemies by 25%. So she has a lot of turn meter manipulation, both to herself and to the opponent in her kit, which is good. So far she's a little bit unique in the way she applies that stuff. And if Hansel's on the team, the turn meter depletion is bigger by half, and it cannot be resisted. So they can resist the turn meter drop if he's not there. Then fills this champion's turn meter by 20% for each enemy alive after the attack. I'm assuming that that's if Hansel's on the team? That's not quite clear. I'm assuming because it's after the first sentence there of Hansel, that it's if he's on the team. So I'll assume that's what it is. But it would be very cool if she can do this if he's not on the team. Just do it on her own. Now we get into the passive. Fills the champion's turn meter by 50% whenever an enemy is granted an extra turn. Now this is unique, okay? I don't think there's anyone else. Well, I can't say that. Valkyrie, but Valkyrie is different because it's a boost. This specifically granted an extra turn, so she get a big pump up in turn meter when the enemy is granted an extra turn. So I think this is probably counter Rotos. And actually, if you go back to Shadow Seeker Bolts, I think that's also counter to Rotos because of his passive. He can't lose half of his hit points in any one hit. So I think this might be a counter to that. So a counter Rotos champion. Nuker, counter Nuker. And okay, if Hansel's on the team.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
Also fills their turn meter by 50% whenever an enemy is granted an extra turn. Okay, so I bragged about this before, raid and the pronoun thing. Kind of obvious that it means Hansel.
Hansel? Hansel?
But ambiguous, because if they put in fills his turn meter, then you would know for sure. But it's the same damn thing, so you can assume it's also filling Hansel's turn meter by 50%. And the active effect, so that's only available if the companion on the same team is killed by the enemy, instantly activates Sacred Ritual skill. So that's the AoE. So you kill him and then she blasts everybody. In revenge.
Revenge!
So that's quite an interesting passive there. And I'm sure a lot of people will use that mechanic in various creative ways, setting up Hansel as the sacrifice, I guess you could say. Get him to get killed, like say in Hydra, and then comes in with a big AoE smash. Although AoE is not as effective in Hydra. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of people will figure out how to play around with that thing. And then they'll break something in the game, and then Raid will nerf it and whatever and piss off most of the other people. And finally, her aura increases ally attack in all battles by 30%. So, pretty good aura. Okay, back to the game, and now my own personal assessment of whether I can do this fusion or not.
Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture.
So, we'll check in here to the shards. This is the first place I go. Right now, I'm under my minimum level of 25 in the voids. But however, I do think that I will be able to build that up and get those 4 voids by the time it rolls around. We do have 9 primal shards sitting here. That's probably the most primals I think I've ever had in one sitting. So that boosts up things very good for Champion Chase and possibly Summon Rush. Sacred shards, kind of small. I usually like to have at least 15 sacreds. More comfortable with 20. But however, I think that will work. Ancients are pretty good, north of 100, so that's good. For Champion Chase purposes, I have Vassal sitting here. I will also have Chromax sitting here when need be. I'm sitting at 99.
Come on, Max, it's really me.
Remnant Summon, I think I'll be able to pick up from the current go-round of Curse City another 5 of these fragments, so I'll have a Remnant Summon sitting there. So I think in terms of the shards and summoning, I'm in good stead. My mysteries are a little down, kind of a concern, but it is what it is. Alright, so next I assess my silver and my gems. Gems are a concern. I like to have 7,000 gems, so I might get more north of 5,900, approaching 7,000 by the time the fusion starts. So I think I'm okay. Again, minimum levels. Silver is very good. Silver has become less of a concern for me in fusions. My forge is always well stocked out. See here, lots of materials to create gear and sell gear. No, silver's not a concern. Energy. I have less energy pots than I'm comfortable with. Usually I have much more energy pots saved up in the inbox, so that's a bit of a concern.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
I'm going to have to spend gems on energy in this, more so than I want. Usually I like to put my gems into buying more ancient shards, but this time around I think I'm going to have to sink it in to more energy, and I'll have to go on what ancient shards I already have. So again, a concern.
Redundant. Yeah, redundant. Yeah, redundant.
Basically, the theme here is I'm kind of running at minimum levels for a fusion, what I'm comfortable with. Lots of multi-battles still in here, so that's okay. That's not a concern. XP boosts, as you can see all throughout here, so again, for champ training purposes, not a concern for XP boosts.
Stop saying the word!
Again, if I need to buy some from the gem shop, I think I could throw a bit of gems at that. Champ training resources. We have champ training going on right now, and I have been sinking champ training resources into that because I did have some things in there that I wanted. So when looking at champ training, I look at what I have built up in terms of chickens, both champion chickens and actual chickens. Okay, so as you see there, I have been depleting some resources. And if you look here, I'm below 1,000 for both my spirit and my magic potions. Because as you see, I have been doing some champion training over the past couple of weeks. That's depleted these down. Still lots of void brews, a couple of barrels there. But I do have a number of 4-star level 40s ready to go. I'm going to keep those. I have been ranking up some to go along with this current champ training, but I want to have some in the bank for what I know comes up in the fusion. The actual chickens, not as many, again, as I'm comfortable with. It is a concern.
Stop it!
Again, running at minimum levels. Okay, so we look in here in the quests, and you'll see here that I am upcoming on getting another void and another sacred. Also another ancient. There'll probably be another 2 ancients really by the time the fusion starts. So that bumps my ability to summon up a little bit. Final resource I need to discuss are my soul stones. Right now sitting at 44 mortals, 4 immortals, small pile. So anything involved with summoning soul stones is going to be a concern. Now usually, it's been kind of changing lately, but mainly for the souls that come along with these fusion champions. But for getting the fusion itself, I do believe Raid has stayed away from doing the soul stone thing. So to just do the fusion itself, I'm not concerned about my low level of soul stones. Now here's something I'm going to make a prediction on. You can see here, I have been pursuing stuff in the champion training tournament, and what I wanted was to get these primal quartz. I think I got it right that time. And actually I made a big mistake there. I used bruise and leveling up, and I had already reached the 50 quartz that I wanted. Realized I wasn't going to get the ancient shard. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but I'm not going to deplete champion training resources. So you just witnessed me make a casual free-to-play mistake, because I forgot that I told myself no more champ training. Anyway, my prediction is that there's going to be something going on with primal shards in this fusion, or something before the fusion going on with primal shards. So I'm anticipating maybe a 2 times for primals, maybe even 2 times mythic for primals, because in a lot of the tournaments and events, as you can see here, in Dragon Turn Attack, there have been these primal quartz. Now I'm not really pursuing this one, because for the Turn Attack, Knights Revenant, even though I have some powerful champs in Knights Revenant, really not any there that are good for a turn attack in the Dragon, or any kind of turn attack really. So I pursued the coins, and I'm not going to expend any more energy trying to get these coins. Well, I mean, there's a day there, but I don't see myself getting enough points in this tournament to get up there. I'm definitely not going to get the quartz. So yeah, because there's a lot of these primal quartz been thrown around, as you can see in the Ice Golem turn attack. There were primal quartz involved here as well. I got those. So yeah, a little bit of prediction on that one. And looking at the events here. So in the Dungeon Divers event, some nice rewards, but I don't think I'm going to get up to the Immortal Soul coins or the Primal Shard. I'm going to keep running as best I can to see if I can get to the Ancient Shard. That'll be a good pickup. Again, a Primal Shard in here further lets me believe there's going to be something coming up with Primal Shards. Summon Rush, yeah, no, obviously this is just a trap to suck out your shard resources before the fusion, so there's not a concern. I did get these Immortal Soul coins just from pulling my Mystery Shards, and that was to make food for the champion training. And yeah, you can see that this is one hell of a trap, because they got a lot of nice rewards for this. I mean, look at this. Wow. Very, very tempting. So if you weren't going for the fusion, this would be a good summon rush to do. But of course, they just have progressive chances and no 2 times or anything. So yeah, this is a big trap. When I talked about traps in the past, this is a big one to try to get your shard resources. So my decision is, I am going to go for this fusion. It's going to be a little tougher than usual. I'm not as flush with resources as I usually am. And though the champ is a damage dealer, I think she has enough in her kit that'll make her interesting to have and maybe useful. And of course, if I don't succeed in getting everything, if something funny happens, as we know that Raid's been doing some funny things in the last, fusions and Titan events, at least I'll have some fragments for mod. But I am going to pursue this one legitimately, as best I can, and hopefully I can pull it off. I think I should be able to. Okay guys, so that's it. That's my assessment of the champ and where I am in terms of the fusion. So I think it'll be an interesting one. Of course, I'll make videos and do a series on it, put it up for you guys to see. Maybe as, the fellow 90% of the player base and casual free-to-play. I mean, not necessarily casual free-to-play is 90% of the player base, but, the non-fanatical, non-whale, non-kraken community, all of us slinging it down here in the mud, can get some insight on how to approach these fusions, how to strategize and plan out, because of course you're not throwing, days of time and buckets of money at the thing. Alright, so I hope that you are excited for Halloween. and for this Halloween fusion. If you are going for the fusion, I hope you're well prepared for it. Wish you the best of luck. Hope all is going well in the rest of the tournaments and events that are going on right now. Hope you're enjoying this nice, lovely bastion with sexy Ceres down here, floating along, making her potions and stuff. It's pretty cool, actually. The little book's floating around, and then she pops some potions in there. And it looks like the different color potions of Legendary, Void, Mystery Shards. I think that's what they're supposed to represent, the colors of the shards. Who knows? Harvest Jack floating in his little green pond over here. And I didn't notice this right away, but UDK popping himself out of the coffin, waving. It's pretty cool. Yeah, look, it looks very nice. And hope you guys like that. Hope all else is well in your life. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.